Thank you. Wow, I got here on time today, so I've got pretty much things organized. I had wanted to start off with a reading, but there's only so much room here because I always decide to do a tarot card reading at the end of the show. Well, anyway, thank you. Thank you for taking some time to tune into Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Yeah, I part my dharma, my spiritual practice, the way I live is, it's not, is to, like most people, I guess, be here now. Most people have figured that out by now. And While, except it gets even more difficult sometimes because, yeah, we're coming up to the Taurus full moon, but the big stuff that goes on happens the day after Election Day, the 7th of November. See, 6th is, of November is Election Day. Uh, Uranus backs up on the 6th, on Election Day that morning. Uranus goes into Aries, which Mars rules Aries. And as I said on my last show, the election was thrown by nobody saw it because early, in the wee hours of the morning on Election Day 2 years ago, Mars entered Aquarius. Now Mars is back in Aquarius. That happens every 2 years, and uh, and uh, and for Donald Trump now, Donald Trump. Did I say Donald Trump? A Freudian slip. Yeah. By the way, if I didn't tell you, I'm here the first and the third Thursday at 5 o'clock. But most people in San Francisco, where this is aired, see me at Saturdays, and thank you for that. 7:30 on Channel 29. But if you go to SFC TV, SF Commons TV, you'll see the schedule for all the shows on SF Commons. There's some good stuff. Richard Rand's, Denise Dory will be here at 6 o'clock. So after my show, if you're watching, stick around for a few minutes because Denise Dory shows up. And it's a live call-in show. And she's got, I think, Haney on today. He's a cool dude. He's running for, I believe, supervisor. Okay, so I digress. Yes, so I'm all excited and psyched because of this. The nodal change, the axis. Yeah, the nodal axes go from Leo, Aquarius. That was 18 months to. Uh, 0 degrees Leo to 29 degrees Capricorn. See, the north node, south nodes go counterclockwise. And how this is affecting America, we're born on the 4th of July. This is affecting our Mercury, going from our north node in Leo to Mercury. Um, I'll explain what this means. Don't just stick with me here. I got a thread that's going to tie it all together. Well, the reason I'm so personally, by my experience, I think, my personal experience, for me, life got a lot better when I saw an astrologer right after my first Saturn return, and I had sobered up and came out of rehab. One of my wishes were to study astrology. I had a different plan for my life, but we're not going to go there. And this was in the early 80s and 1980s. And, and, uh, and, uh, and astrologers. Yeah, so I started studying astrology, and one really good astrologer pointed out that my north node was in Taurus, conjunct my ascendant, my moon, my rising, and my south node was in Scorpio, conjunct my Mercury, and that's what was getting me in all this trouble up until I had my first Saturn return because I was going towards my south node where I should have been. So at that moment, I had one of these light bulb eureka moments, and I went, "I've got it," and I started doing all this Venus stuff. I, you know. And since then, my life has been worth living. Well, every life is worth living, but it's been a lot easier. It still had, believe me, I get my share of challenges, thank goodness. I don't think if you don't have any challenges, you better check, you might be gone. and don't know it, there's a lot of zombies around. I'm making a joke. I'm making a Scorpio joke. Yeah, so that's why I'm such a firm believer in the North Node. See, the North Node is the Dharma, what you must do, the Dharma of your life, the practice you must have, your skillful choices. The skillful choice, according to Tibetan Buddhism, it's all about making choices, making skillful choices. I was talking to a friend the other day, being my 70th birthday is within view, a few weeks I'll be 70, and I was thinking, I was thinking, wow, one of the benefits of living this long is you get to see all the past. And I could look at all the things I used to be really obsessed about, all these habits that had their way with me. You know, after I got off of pills and liquor, then it was something else. Oh, men. Yeah, I got obsessed over a couple of guys. And then there was something else went on. You know, it was always foods. Yeah, after I quit smoking, I put on some weight. You know, they're not fun when you're going through. So it's, I think it's why I'm sharing this is because being creatures of habit, pick good habits, pick healthy habits. You know, that's all I wanted to say there. So, yeah, so for the United States of America, see, Cancer likes everything warm and cuddly. I think the war weariness, 17 years of war, is I think is getting it, and people are just saying enough with this now, enough with all this. You know, Gurdjieff said, as someone asked him, he was giving a lecture, and he said, the first thing to know if you want to get out of prison is that you are in a prison. People have given away their power effortlessly, you know, and now taking it back, we're seeing, you know. Yeah, people died for the vote, for the right to vote. I mean, we're pretty socially conscious, I believe, in San Francisco, but please tell everybody, just don't take it for granted. Now, it's nothing less than our complete civilization. Einstein said, we shall require a substantial new manner of thinking if humanity is to survive. That was in 1932. Yeah, the economy's up because all of the regulations now to curb carbon emissions and try to save, I've almost said try, and save the our polar caps, you know. So these fools, these fat, stupid fool, you know, we got to get that fat-ass fool out of the office. Oh, yeah, so that's why I'm so excited. So, yeah, it's going to be after the midterms, which is just a few weeks away. We're going to have, that just goes right along with my hunches that he'd be out. That's when Mueller's going to come back. Yeah, Mueller's just probably got everything he needs now to really cause a ruckus, and he's probably just pacing around waiting to spring this on. But it's got to be after the midterms, and that just happens to be on the 6th, and then the very next day, on Wednesday, the 7th of November, we're talking here, 2018, the new moon, 15 degrees Scorpio. And where's my mountain astrologer? Right here. We're going to talk about the October 24th Taurus Full Moon coming up in a few days. But first, as I said, I've been waiting for this for a long time, at least since Election Day 2 years ago when Trump got the office. The artificial president, you know, the man assuming the office. That Scorpio new moon. That's all going to be happening on Donald. For America, that happens. I'm looking at the United States of America's chart. Oh, in our 5th house, our fun house. But we'll see what's going on with Donald Trump. Oh, yeah, so this axle thing, this axis, the last time the nodal axis shifted like they are, that was, I have it written down here somewhere. Here it is. October 15th, October 18th, 18, and then it, Oh yeah, that was 20. Uh, yeah, it was October 18th, 1920. Yeah, 1990. No, 2000. Yeah, it was 2000. April of October to October 2000. I wrote it down here, but I can't write for you. Yeah, it ended in October of 2001. The last time it was 18 months of the North Node Cancer, South Node Capricorn. So now it starts on November 7th, 2018, just next month. The shift goes from 0, because it goes counterclockwise, so it goes from 0 Leo to 29 Cancer. And then for 18 months now, and for America, we have Mercury, our North Node is 7 degrees Leo, following our heart, never looking back. Always growing, always transforming, always reinventing ourselves. And see, in that Cancer, Mercury, 24 degrees. Then we have our eighth house cusp. We're going counterclockwise here. The Sun, 13 Cancer. So for, then Jupiter, Venus, 3 degrees Cancer. And then Gemini, as I said. So for the next 2.5 years, the way is going to be acknowledging unseen forces behind the scenes at work. You know, this book is by Carrie Walters. It's called Jacob's Hip. And, you know, this whole thing about being vulnerable, that was like 9/11 was all about, to get us to understand that there's no way, nothing's going, no bombs, there's nothing going to keep us secure, and we shouldn't want to not be vulnerable. People might be gasping now. What is Psychic Frank talking about? But there's never going to be a time now. See, and then the day after Election Day, on the Jupiter leaves Scorpio and goes into Sagittarius for a year, and that's going to so Jupiter's going to be our rising sign, the United States of America. The 4th of July 1776 is 12 degrees. So all this stuff now with Jupiter in our 12th house is like actually having an angel on America's shoulder. Yeah, this is going to be the blue tsunami. Yeah, what he says here about fear ultimately stems from, you know, he talks about the word fear, but what's really important here is says, the Christian God isn't a celestial Don Corleone. The Christian life isn't one of comfortable invulnerability. Jesus didn't come to build security barriers. On the contrary, Jesus' entire ministry was about daring to smash through them. Jesus was the guy, after all, who rattled the play it safe Pharisees by breaking the Sabbath, ignoring dietary laws, hanging around with whores, taxmen, and demonics. DEMONIACS, demonics, and teeter-tottering on the margin of normalcy, and moreover doing it joyfully, without anxiety for the morrow. Jesus was the teacher who admonished us to give up all our possessions, material as well as spiritual, and embrace poverty. It was Jesus who told us to be spiritually poor, to be vulnerable in the most harrowing sense of the word, is to live in a state of great blessedness. Yeah, both the Sermon in the Mount. I'm not a Bible expert, but I know the basics, and I do know the Sermon on the Mount teaches that we are not to be obsessed with security. Jesus actually lived these words, even more to the point, he died them. The cross is a symbol of the new passage he brought to humankind. God is not only all-powerful, God is all-powerless. God is love, and love is powerful enough to create a cosmos, but vulnerable enough to suffer and die for a beloved's sake. This is not light stuff today, huh? To love is risky business, and to love supremely is to put oneself at supreme risk. This is a real test of faith. If you got to have a strong faith now, if you're afraid, it's because you have more faith in evil than you do in God or love. So, yeah, that's what Emmett Fox says there. That's the golden key. Yeah, nowadays, I don't even pray. I just golden key it. Just close my eyes and golden key it. Watch the show I went up on YouTube on October 5th. people are telling me is the best thing I ever did, which made me happy and sad at the same time. But that's another story. Because I don't want to be, I'll never be perfect. God only knows, huh? To love is risky business. For the Christian, God isn't a place of unassailable security, a divine fallout shelter. God, as John Zaire said, is ground zero. God is the bullseye in the target. God is that place of radical vulnerability on the other side of the fortress wall. He says a spirituality based on, we're almost through here, just bear with me, a spirituality based on the fearful need for safety runs out not to be bomb-proof after all. Wishing, thinkful, wishing, thinking, and is destructive. Wishful thinking is destructive in the long run. To substitute what we want to be in the case with what actually may provide some comforting insulation for a while, but eventually the real world crashes in on our dream, and reality, as C.S. Lewis once said, is the great iconoclast. Sooner or later, it smashes our idols and grinds our fantasies. Safety spirituality in which we seek heaven is actually built on sand. With time and tide, it collapses and sweeps us away. In all honesty, it provides small comfort even before that dreadful day arrives. The only safety spiritualities is that they actually tend to evaluate rather than diminish our anxiety levels. Our efforts to attain security only shove us deeper into anger there. What it's all about now is we're supposed to be dependent on Jah will. God will be done for us, and nobody ever thought after 9/11 to be more Christ-like, Instead, we made people, we bombed the wrong country. I'm laughing, that's a nervous laugh that, like I often say, excuse me, trust doesn't come with a refill. Once it's gone, it's POW. It's gone. Hawaii, POW means all finished. I lived in Hawaii a long time ago. I love that. This is POW. This is finished. Trust doesn't come with a refill. Once it's gone, you probably won't get it back, and if you do, it'll never be the same, and that's a fact. So we've got to start really this. So I'm really, really excited because I usually don't have any trouble being in the now. I'm doing it long enough to realize, okay, where are your feet, Frank? I repeat the day, and I always pull myself. That's my whole day, getting my mind. It takes a lot of practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. Oh yeah, but everything, it's hard to not see like all this stuff. I've been feeling the vibes of this all, and now they're all coming together. The Mueller's going to come right after the elections. We're going to get a whole new Congress, and then Mueller's going to come out, and it's going to be the end for Donald Trump. Because this, let me look at Donald's chart. Oh yeah, I want to do some cards. Yeah, I want people like when I do the cards. Yeah, because there's a lot on YouTube. If you're into astrology, just go to YouTube or Google and type in North Node Cancer 2018. And there's a lot going on there. What we all have a chance to do now, or being pulled, being urged to do on the psychic level, is to look at the areas of our life where we're like a three-trick pony. It's sort of like Groundhog's Day over and over again. Deja vu all over again. It's like it's like, this is getting really old. Well, this is a chance now. This is a chance. You better take it. Well, I urge you to take it. Life is for getting out of our comfort zone. I wrote something the other day. I'm not going to fish for it now, where it says, when we get boring, God takes us. So the trick is never get boring. That's a good one. Okay, so I want my viewers now. I'm going to get centered. Clear the energy. Oh yeah, so I wanted to see how to see what to validate what I've been saying now. That it's been a long, almost 2 years since the inauguration of this illegitimate president. artificial. He'll always be the artificial. A needed piece of the puzzle, though. You know, he was worth his weight in gold, so to speak. No pun intended. Yeah. So on the 24th, the final degree of of Aquarius. Yeah, the very. This will be the last the Taurus full moon coming up there. On the 24th of this month here in California on the West Coast, 9:45 in the morning. So those of you who sleep in on that'll be on Wednesday, the early Wednesday morning. So that's this right now. Today's the 18th. Most people will be seeing this on Saturday, the 20th, where the sun will be in moon will be in Pisces, and then the sun goes into Scorpio on the 23rd, Monday, at 4:23 a.m. And this is the last couple of weeks of Jupiter in Scorpio. Jupiter goes around the wheel 12 years, spends a year in every sign, and then Jupiter enters Sagittarius on the 7th. Yeah, on the actually on the 8th here in California, at 4:38 in the morning, the day after the full moon. So so let's see what all this means. Let me shuffle the cards one more time, and I'll do a 9-card spread. I just figured out. I just seem to have mastered it. Yeah, I love that. How do you get the Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. Yeah. So. Let me see what my viewers need to know about this light at the end of the tunnel I see. Yeah, as I said, it's always important to be here now, and full moons are all about seeing a whole new landscape, and what makes, because the tides go up, but what makes this full moon so important on the 24th is the fact that Venus is 4 degrees. So Venus is very close to the sun, and the moon is and Taurus are very close. The moon and Uranus are in Taurus, 0 degrees Uranus, 0 degrees Taurus, and conjunct the moon. So this full moon coming up on the 24th conjoins Uranus, accentuating individual needs. See, for the last 18 months with the Aquarius South Node and the Leo North Node, most of us, if you played it right, have accepted your individuality as a blessing. And that's a threat to a lot of people. Yes, it's hopeful the Jupiter North Node opens the way on Wednesday. Yeah. Accentuating our, this can mean that we can expect, as usual, Taurus-type behavior. Well, see, this thing about Taurus, Uranus and Taurus backs up into Aries, and then in February goes back into Taurus for the 8 years, for the long haul. This only happens 80-something, every 84 years, 86 years. But so when Uranus entered Taurus for a few months, a little ways back, where it is right now, actually, it's about ready to go into Aries in a few weeks. It had a signature. What happened that day? And that was when the big eruption, Mauna Kea, rivers of lava pouring down Hawaii there. So we could definitely expect Earth things going on. Well, look what's going on right now with these record-breaking hurricanes, storms. Okay, so what do my viewers need to know? There's their collective. We're doing a Carl Jung collective consciousness thing here. And there's the. As I said, we've all collectively been lied to and betrayed. Some of us handle that. Denial, denial isn't a river in Africa, as they say in recovery. Yeah, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, let no man drive you so low as to hate. No, I just feel nothing but misery, but it's, we have to get motivated to be, no use to be. Anger by itself is like wallowing in anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. No, do what you can do, no matter what age you are. There's something you can do. You know, you can spend an hour giving out flyers or just reminding people how precious our democracy is. You know, I have no kids. To me, you know, my family circle is, we draw our family circles too small. You know, to me, the world, every kid's my kid. So I don't know how the schools are teaching now, but I remember way back in the day, as they say, civics was a class, you know, civics, African history. I went to a nice neighborhood school in Glen Cove, New York. I guess I was blessed, but I don't think they do that anymore even there. I don't think civics, and look what happens. You know, people don't understand that. People literally died or hung, tortured. They were asked, this one guy was talking about his grandmother had a story about her mother went to the to vote, and they asked her to count guess how many jelly beans were in the jar, and then she could vote. So naturally, I don't know, she didn't get to vote. Okay, for collectively we got the Nine of Wands. So it's interesting. The United States of America is 4th of July is 11, and this 2018 is 11. So we're in a 22-4 year. America's going to have the last word this year, and I'm not talking about this this clan America. This you know, there's no this bad old days America. No, the America people died for is on the edge now. Never mind the planet itself. With you know, we're making some headway with the ozone layer, but with now all these deregulations, sure, people are. You know, ignorant people are, don't understand. Where are they going to spend this money? On Mars? I don't understand this. Well, anyway, enough of my editorials there, but this is what we're getting now. So 4 and 1 is 5. So actually, Election Day falls in a 6. Let me see. Yeah, November is 4 and 2 is 6. Okay, so yeah, well, we got to protect. See, this is the ending. This is the ending now. America's taking a beating. Takes a beating. You know, it was a song by Patti LaBelle in the, you know, way back when she was in another group. I sold my heart to the junk man. I gave my heart to you, someone I trusted. You gave it back to me, all broken and busted. Yeah, this is a lot of people, you know, gave their heart to Donald Trump, and now they're going to get it back, all broken and busted. And that's going to be a day, you know. Like Bannon said, you can't, he said, excuse me, the Democrats are having a pillow fight, and the Republicans are going for the head. Now, we got to definitely understand now, you got to stand up for, you know, what's going on. What's surrounding us now is smooth sailing with the finances. You know, be here now. We have enough, there's enough money to take care of a lot of suffering, just not only in America, but it's, well, in America, because we're doing this reading now, it's just like, there's no, you know, everybody knows the standard of living has gotten worse. People are working more, and because we've given our power away. Yeah, giving our power away is effortless. Taking it back, it takes some work. You got to get up, go and vote, and attend all these Democratic support, like Haney, all these cool people. I think he's going to be on Denise's show right after mine. I should stick around and talk to him. Okay, well, we're on track. Our base is, look, no hands. We've got to start getting, now people are going to think this is my personal thing here, but we really have cut ourselves off. This generation now that's falling for this, just like most of our society is sick because of the chemically altering our food to make it addictive and less nourishing. Well, that's what's going on now with, they're doing it all now for these devices, and there's enough said about that on the computer. Yeah, okay, the wind's going to be blowing our way. The wind is going to be blowing away. I asked for validation about my predictions for the day after the Democratic blue wave happens after Election Day. As I said, the reason Trump's there now is because of Mars in Aquarius, and then the ruler of Aquarius and the ruler of Mars, Uranus, goes into Aries. So that to me is just too poetic. Just, it's just, I don't believe in coincidences. I see that as definitely the beginning of the end for him. Yeah, Mars will be 25 Aquarius that day. We're talking about the day of November 7th. Yeah, so as I said, it's really been, the axis changes. And then the whole thing about Jupiter going into Sagittarius, that's fire. Okay, the work to be done is knowledge. Yeah, knowledge. Right until being a vegan, they show this guy on PBS, this doctor who has clinical proof now. He wasn't really selling anything, I guess a book. But that vegans, and I've read it a lot of other places, live to be 120. So being 70 is really the new 50. I know people under 30 are probably thinking, who's this old guy? Yeah, as I said, we've got this healing going on in our hearts. Yeah, this healing going on. See, the swords are all there's a symmetry there. It means we're not going to push the sadness away. It's a waste of time. We're not going to cover it up with drugs or escaping through these devices. We're going to just make it part of our experience, and everything we do is going to be deeper and more meaningful for it. They say Suro Das says, Lama Suro Das says, when you could look back at your life, and it's not condoning it, but just say, wow, the good, the bad, even the hideous, thank you for it all, because this is who I am today, and I wouldn't be this. Yeah, but it doesn't mean you're condoning it at all, but it's a rite of passage. Yeah, so I had this whole thing written down about this. I had a feeling this card was going to come up today somehow. Yeah, so, it's funny, 2010 is when Citizens United started, and that's when that's when we lost control, that's when the money, it says, isn't it funny we're talking about this card now, and it's what we have to do. That's our Dharma now, our Dharma. All God does is watch us and kill us when we get boring. We must never, ever be boring. Some guy named Chuck Panich or whatever said that. But I like this guy. I just got his book the other day. Bernie Brown says, vulnerability is about showing up and being seen. It's tough to do that when you're terrified about what people might see or think. You got to give us all a hand here on Cable Access TV. We come out here and let it all hang out for y'all. Let's be clear, vulnerability is not a sign of weakness and can be our greatest strength. Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest measure of courage. Vulnerability is a double-edged sword. Those who protect themselves to avoid getting hurt fail to appreciate intimacy and close relationships. Everyone is vulnerable no matter how much they try to avoid it. We always think, well, I had enough money, or this is like, no, just be here now. There's a middle way between going the total Buddhist abstinence of everything to just, like I say, instead of 5 yachts, have 1. Greed in the medical community is outrageous. We are born vulnerable and stay that way for our entire childhood. Our relationships with vulnerability is something we acquire with, are acquainted with, yet abandon as we merge into adulthood. Yeah, we're well acquainted with vulnerability, That's how we start, Fear's the way we die. No, it's not the way I'm going. Your association with vulnerability requires a shift in awareness in order to strengthen your emotional well-being. It's no use erecting barricades around you while hoping at the same time others will see the blossoming flower within. Well, that's beautiful stuff. The wall you construct prevents your true nature from being known to others. Your task is not to seek for love, but to merely seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. To embrace vulnerability as your greatest strength, you will need to become aware of your pain points. Retaliation leads to suffering, since you are likely to defend your pain like a wounded animal. Not just pretty words. Yeah, retaliation leads to suffering, comma, since you are likely to defend your pain like a wounded animal. Oh yeah, Mario Martinez. I just got his book from the library. Code Madeira. It just came in the mail the other day. Yeah, he says the mind-body code, how to change the beliefs that limit your health, longevity, and success. The wound, this is a quote from Martinez, it says, the wound you chose in order to interpret your pain becomes a shield of protection against forgiving, because releasing your grudge means being vulnerable again. Yeah, I don't know if I tell you this story, but it's worth it. Around I've been in the same apartment for 30 years, so I was just moved in there a few years, so it was around 20-something years ago. And I opened the door, and a friend from Palo Alto, a very affluent woman, sent this affluent woman to come see me. And I always word of mouth. So I opened the door, and she was, I was, in my 40s then. She was 20 years older than me. And she was a dress designer and from Spain. And had just been in New York, and she was coming back from a trip, and she was very beautiful, very classy lady, and I was honored to have her in my garret, my humble garret. So long story short, we had a wonderful hour together. I lined up her chakras. My bird was with us, I believe. Oh no, I think I had a dog back then, actually. Well, anyway, so she, towards the end of the session, I was getting ready to say goodbye to her, and I think I already did. And then she looked at me. Everybody has an afterthought, and she said, "Do you see a man in my life? You see?" And I laughed, and I said, "Well, sit back down." And I said, "Well, honey, where are you going to put him?" I said, "Yeah, you got out of this bad relationship 30-something years ago because he beat you, and it was a bad marriage, and you've been in therapy since then." I said, but. Physically, he's no longer there, but psychically, he's very. And she started laughing, and I looked up, and I could actually see her just blossom. Not that she was bad to look at when she walked in, but I just saw this light, and she laughed and hugged, and we left. Then it was like a year later, her friend came to see me, and then I said, "Oh, remember that woman you sent to me last year? What happened to her?" She goes, "Oh, Frank, she loves you. She told me to say thanks, and she's back in, I think, Barcelona there, and she's fallen in love with someone half her age and is very happy." And people always, when they come for a session, things happen to them, And then a lot of psychics say, "Oh yeah, don't make a move without me from here on out." No, no, no. It's taken me 70 years to figure out how to use my power. I discourage people who use me more than once a year, unless they're family, Well, that's another thing. There's the paradox, Don't look at me started. Okay. Well, let's be happy. Let's get some gratitude going on here. This is happening for us, not to us. I think the soul of America, as they say, is nothing less than the soul of America on the ballot. This is, as I said, I just because I know it's going to be a blue wave, don't say I can't vote because Frank. No? Everything, your action counts. Like Mother Teresa, she would pick up a starving infant in Calcutta too sick to even ingest food, even baby, any kind of liquids or anything, and she would rub their body with tofu, and then eventually they'd get nourished enough to take some, liquids through their mouth and stuff. She said she couldn't take care of all the children, but whatever child they put in her hand, she would deal with that child like it was, like when I pick everybody who watches the show, my pet peeve is people dropping cigarette butts everywhere because they wind up from the street to the creek. So I'm always dropping down. So I stay in such good shape. and I pick up all these cigarette butts. I think it's paying back karma for all the years I didn't care about any. Up until '82, I was not the person you see here. I wasn't evil. I just hurt. I was just didn't like it here. I didn't want to stay, and I was always on self-destruct because I was always going through that south node, that Scorpio south node. Your south node is, we're all supposed to take our south node experiences and go the opposite way. And for the United States of America now, it's getting away from that serious Capricorn stuff. You know, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth leaves you blind and toothless. See, that's what the Saudis are all about. This guy they just killed, before they killed him, they took off his fingers, you know, and he was probably dead then, because a writer, you know, your fingers are pretty much it. Yeah, these are, you know, I'm still over that. I'm still that the fact that we should stop doing business with China until they lay off on my Tibetan friends, my Tibetan people. And be aware too, like the turkey industry. Before you know it, Thanksgiving will be here. Start thinking of alternatives. You know, cruelty-free. You know. Okay, the final outcome is, yes, our love for the United States of America, and for, yeah, this whole shift coming up right around the time of the 7th of November, the day of the full moon. The North Node goes from Leo to, I'm just, for me, that just blows my mind. I'm just so psyched, you know, because as I said, my last show that's up on YouTube, people who've been watching my show and supporting my efforts told me, hey, that was the best show you ever did. And I didn't want to see it. And then the other day I caught it by accident, because they showed it a lot on Channel 76 here in San Francisco and 29. And my parrot and I took it in, and I said, you know, yeah, that was a good show. I wish I could do that again, and obviously I didn't. But anyway, only God is perfect. So yes, to embrace our vulnerability, yeah. Yes, I am imperfect and vulnerable and sometimes afraid, but that doesn't change the truth that I am brave and worthy of love and belonging. I don't know where I wrote that for. It says, consider it akin to a jigsaw puzzle strewn across the floor. Some might say your puzzle is incomplete given the pieces are lying on the floor. However, by gathering them together, you create the entire picture piece by piece. That's the heart of your life story. You have disowned your fractured parts instead of piecing them together. So yeah, instead of, you know, shaking your fist at the wind, remember the North Node is the Dharma. What you're being urged by the universe is pulling you to get some good Dharma. You know, a Dharma is your spiritual practice. And it's all spiritual. You know, people say the spiritual, we got a few minutes here. Let me see what we got here. And I'll be back here, God willing, on October, this is the 18th of October. So I will be back here on Thursday, the 1st of November. And because my days switch now, the 1st and the 3rd, I'll be here twice in November. I usually have to Thanksgiving at the end of the month. I always miss that. I only got to do one show in November, December. Well, that's not going to happen this year. Isn't that fun? Oh, yeah. So we'll leave you with this. To be vulnerable is to be without defensive armor, to be authentic and present. When we are able to feel our vulnerability, we are able to experience the full range of our reactions to the world around us. You can't selectively numb emotions. You can't say, there's the bad stuff, here's the vulnerability, here's grief, here's shame, here's fear, here's disappointment. I don't want these. Hearts don't respond to commands, and they only open inward. I don't want these. At the end, the only way you can achieve protection from the negatives is by achieving protection from the positives too, whereupon you really realize that you didn't really want such protection after all. As Lewis puts it more poetically, to love at all is to be vulnerable. To love anything and your heart will be wrung and possibly broken. If you want to make sure, I had a dog and my heart broke. I tell you, she passed on in '96, and I thought I'd die. But I didn't. Is that all there is? No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna treat you to a song. Okay, if you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give your heart to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully around with your hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket or coffin of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, and airless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, and irredeemable, becoming numb and irredeemable. To become numb to negative emotions, Brown's research illustrates, doesn't even work as a way of protecting yourself from negative emotions themselves. For the truth, Thomas Merton said, the truth may be that people never understand, is that the more you try to avoid suffering, the more you suffer, because smaller and more insignificant things begin to torture you in proportion to your fear of being hurt. This scene way becomes clear that security chasing is a large part of the problem with the cult of optimism. Oh yeah, he goes on there. So anyway, start thinking about all these people, all these. Does anybody feel safer with enough atomic weapons to blow this planet to smithereens? I know I'm not. What are they fighting for? As Marianne Faithfull said. Yeah, so people will begin to be pulled towards the vibration of I've had it. That's it now. Yeah, so the karma now is is saying no way, and the way is the Dharma. See, the dragon's head is in Cancer now. So the threefold riddle, each and every one of us need to look in the mirror, the eyes are the window to the soul. And, in the morning when you're washing your face, say, I love you no matter what, come rain or come shine, line up with your creator. And then ask yourself, who am I today? This is the threefold riddle. You all have Cancer in your chart somewhere. Look for 29 degrees Cancer. And think back to what went on back in 2000. Started in 2000, ended in mid-2001. We had that was back there, that was 2000. And then I'm going to do some research on what was going on 2010, because we got to get, it's all about a belief. If you have trouble with the word God or Jesus, just, the power greater than yourself. Yeah, when we experience a great hurt or loss that feels like a broken heartedness, we now realize the heart is not broken. It's actually the heart's protective shell. Open up because it wants to feel, it wants to feel these emotions, Yeah, a lot of people wanted to jump in that abyss. They wanted to experience this or that, Just, I want to feel alive again. See, so it's this Uranus. I don't think anybody on the planet, well, you'd have to be like over 84. Actually, I have a friend who's 84, and he is dealing with this Uranus return. It takes 85 years for Uranus to go around the wheel. So a majority of people now, we're getting a chance to plant some interesting seeds. And I believe, I don't want to end this on a gloom, on dooming anybody, but I really believe what's going to go on is this president, this man who's calling himself President Trump, is a 2-year president. When he's thrown out of office, when he leaves office in disgrace and hopefully goes to prison, I think the Russian mafia is going to take him out. Dead man tells no tale. And be very aware of how you're using your throat chakra. Keep your affirmation in 2 tenses, I am and I have. We're down to the last couple of, the world can no longer offer anything to the man filled with anguish. So anger is a good, of course you're not having lobotomy, you're going to register anger, then move it up a few chakras and be open to how your life, your precious, beautiful life, no matter what shape you're in. If the world were clear, art would not exist. Camus said that. If I could tell you, oh yeah, Isadora Duncan said, if I could tell you what it meant, there would be no point in dancing it. Oh yeah, watch Isa's show. She's a wonderful dancer. She has a great show on. I saw her the other day. Hi Isa, if you're watching. If you are depressed, you are too high up in your mind. Yeah, we're getting a blinding example by Donald Trump on how to what ego is. See, that's interesting. Leo. See, he's a prime example of how to use that Leo and Mars energy the very worst way you could. Yeah, it's all about turning isms into wasms. It's a good one. I'm glad I wrote that down. And science teaches us that we must see in order to believe, but we must also believe in order to see. Refusal to hope is nothing more than a decision to die. Embrace each challenge in your life as an opportunity for self-transformation. I love you, each and every one of you. And listen to your children. They have, you know, the biggest minority in the whole world, no matter what color your skin is, children, you know. I don't know how any child survives, you know. I like when I was going through some major forgiveness, I actually found this quote on Oprah Winfrey years ago that said, forgiveness means giving up all hope for a better past. It was what it was, and you can't turn back time, but you can definitely make that experience make you a more authentic human being, and not some android machine that some people at these communication labs are how to work you like a muppet. I will not be worked like a muppet, and I love you. And pay attention to your dreams and get involved, please. And please, tell everybody how precious, how, you know, we're not freaking them out, but the fact that you got to know, like in the park, you are here. Well, this is where we are. I love you.